This is the Bat Flip Podcast. Now here's your host, Damien, David, and Matt. Oh, and I am a fraud because I completely forgot to take the welcome in graphic off. So welcome in everyone to another episode of the Bat Flip Podcast. My name is Damien. I am on it today, obviously, as you can tell. Matt and David are here along with us. Today we're going to be talking about, we have an extension going for a top prospect that was just called up. We're going to talk about some more injury news. We're going to talk about Raleigh and his insane season that he's having. We'll talk about the Padres-Dodgers series from this past weekend, look at a couple other close division races, and then we'll talk about the new TV deals that are apparently going to be happening over the next few years for MLB and their national deals. But before we get into all that, David, how are you doing this week?
Doing pretty good. Little better weekend than last week. But overall, it's been a good weekend. Excited for the start of college football. Hopefully you guys caught our little episode on that from last week on Thursday. So this week's the real one, week 0. Fun. Got to tune in, I think, just a little bit. I watched a little bit of the Kansas State Iowa State game, but other than that, I was pretty much out of the loop this weekend. But overall, I'm ready for this weekend. It's LSU versus Clemson, right? So it's me versus Damien. That's going to be a fun one. But how you doing, Matt?
Doing pretty good. Just been was up in Nashville this past weekend. Did a little golfing and hanging out with my brother, so that was cool. Watched a little bit of the week 0 college football games. They were about as sloppy of football games as you can see, but a Hawaii one, which was kind of fun.
Beautiful.
Over Stanford. So that was cool. That's pretty much it. Enjoyed the Braves beating the Mets yesterday. That's always fun, even though they didn't have a great week. But it's Brave season's over. Any game they win against the Mets is kind of fun though, so that's good. And college football starting up for real this week, and I'm about to go on a trip here, leaving Wednesday. Be gone for Labor Day, so that'll be cool. And it'll be it's a good time right now. So. Baseball postseason is not far away either, so we definitely got a lot to talk about here today.
Yeah, this weekend I just had a couple fantasy football drafts this weekend. Our big party that my friend Kevin, he listens to these, so shout out to him. I went over there Friday night. He puts on. I say we. I help a tiny bit, an absolute feast for like 30 people. It is so much food. So much barbecue. I can't even begin to tell you guys how much food there really was. It's insane what we do. It was so much fun in that draft. And then another one, like you mentioned, I got to watch some college football though. The fighting Andrew Luck's versus the fighting Rainbow Warriors, where it was an insane game. I love week 0 because you can just lock in and watch like Sam Houston versus Western Kentucky and not have to worry about anything else that's going on. Just that, and that is perfect. But I'm excited for week 1. I'll see how Brian Kelly decides to lose another opening week game for LSU because he has every single year. That'll be pretty exciting. But it was a good week. Like we mentioned, they got baseball races are starting to get into that. My team was in another intense series this weekend. Didn't come out quite as good as it did last weekend, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. But first off, let's talk about Samuel Basallo because he is a top-rated prospect. For the Baltimore Orioles, there's some questions about his long-term home. He is a catcher, but most likely thinks it's like a first base DH long-term, but he is catching for now. And he comes up, has played I think 5 games at the time, and gets a 8-year, $67 million contract extension. Also has a club option to take it up to $88.5 million for a 9th season. It is questionable because what does that mean for the long-term future of Adley Rutschman? We shall see this offseason. But David, when you saw the Jeff Passan notification of Samuel Basallo's contract extension, what was going through your head?
First thing, I love when a young player gets a big life-changing money contract, right? This has been a very long-standing trend for some of these young guys coming up to take this, you'll call it a team-friendly deal, right? I mean, the potential of a Samuel Basallo or a Jackson Churio or Roman Anthony to be better than their, new contract is pretty, the potential is there, but also, they could bust out. They might struggle with major league pitching. A team has to be very confident to give out $70 million to a guy who's played 5 games. I think that says a lot about Samuel Basallo. I think he's got a ton of hitting upside. I don't know that he's a catcher, right? And that my initial reaction, like you asked, was, is this the end of Adley Rutschman as the catcher in Baltimore? Will he get traded this offseason? I don't know that that's necessarily the case because Basallo's not probably a catcher. I think they're going to figure that out here over the next 2 months. Baltimore's kind of out of it. Like, you might as well just play Basallo at catcher and just see what you've got. Give him 2 months of run and see what it looks like. That's where I would go from here. It's in terms of the contract. I'm all for signing these kids to big deals. I think giving them that stability, the ability to be set for life basically. And now you just focus on baseball. You focus on being a major league player, keeping your body in shape, working out, and all those things. It takes so much pressure off to not have to get paid. And free agency is going to hit for Basallo at what age? 30. He'll still have a chance to make a big contract, big payday, whatever, 100 million plus. This is a great deal. I think we're going to see a lot of these signed every single time. I'm going to support it because it's life-changing money for the player. It's potentially a steal for the team, but they're still playing a very unknown player a lot of money, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah, David, the key thing I think in what you just said was they're going to find out about catching. Yeah. Because that's why they called him up, I believe, a couple weeks ago or last week. We talked about it then. Is this the end for Adley Rutschman in Baltimore? I think the Orioles would like to find out. I think they would like to try it and see. Yeah. And if it doesn't work out, you've got a first base DH that can hopefully can really hit for a long time, and you still got Adley. But if he looks like he's going to be able to catch and he's figuring it out at some point, he just makes a lot of improvements early on this year, then you can look at moving Adley and moving on from him. Adley's not going to sign an extension. It's been a disappointing year for him. He hasn't been – Adley Rutschman's been a really good major league player since he's been called up, but he hasn't quite hit that potential that we expected from him. He's dealt with some injuries at times. He just hasn't quite been that guy that we thought he was going to be, which was everyone thought he was the next Buster Posey. And he's been good, but he's more like, dare I say it, Matt Wieters. I hate to say that, but it's not. Yeah. I don't think it's totally unfair to say that at this point. Now, he's still young and could really take off. He's still got that potential. He was a number 1 pick in the draft for a reason, but Basallo is a guy that, if you remember Gary Sanchez's upside of if Gary Sanchez was not terrible at blocking, then he could have been good. The power potential was there. That's a little bit like, what Basallo could bring to the table, and we'll see what happens. I think, Basallo could end up being a superstar catcher, but he also could end up being just a decent DH. So it's definitely worth the look for the Orioles, though, the rest of this year to find out, do we really believe in him as a catcher going forward? And then you can kind of judge your decision making off of that, and maybe even through half of next year too. But yeah, I definitely think that's kind of where we're looking here.
It's funny you even mentioned Gary Sanchez because that's who the backup is in Baltimore right now.
That's true.
That's what they're doing. But I think you definitely give him the runway for the next 2 months or whatever. Obviously Rutschman is on the IL as we speak with he's had his fair share of injuries and stuff he's played through this year. There was a thing where he really got hit by a foul pit or as he was catching a foul ball hit his hand. Ever since then, his numbers have been drastically different. And if anyone on this podcast knows anything about that, it's David right now. Hand injuries can make things be a lot worse. So it's going to be interesting, right? Because I was watching a thing with Jeff Passan on the Just Baseball show, and he was talking about, Bob Nightingale said, well, Adley Rutschman's going to be on the trade block this offseason. And Passan's like, well, who's going to trade or who's going to pay the price of Adley Rutschman that the Orioles think of Adley Rutschman? He's like, no one's going to do that right this moment, right? This is something that leaks into next year for sure, 100%. And at that moment, you give Basallo the runway here, and then you say, okay, look, this is what we saw in your major league time. This is what you need to work on. Do that from there. Ideally, going into next year, what happens is Basallo ends up catching 40 games, right? He catches a game or two a week, whatever. Give Adley that day off there. He plays the rest of his time at first base DH, and then you figure out what you're going to do long term there if he makes the improvements behind the plate or not.
Yep.
And then either halfway through the next year or next offseason is when you make your decision with Adley, right? So that's what it's going to be. But we can't not talk about the impact that his level of bat that he's going to have, right?
Yeah.
This is a guy who's going to have major power. He's going to hit the ball a lot. Like he is such a good hitter that you just find a way to make it work. And at a certain point, as long as it's not like horrendously bad behind the plate, maybe he makes a little bit of improvements, because we do have to remember he is only 21. Like his body might outgrow it, but Gary Sanchez has made a decent enough improvement to be a fine catcher, right? Not saying that he's going to be a superstar catcher, but if you make good enough improvements, you kind of live with it, taking the level of bat that he's going to bring along it through his development.
Yeah. Well, let me bring up one more thing on Basallo that I don't think has been. I don't know if we've talked about it really with the potential rule changes coming to Major League Baseball. You know, Basallo's got a really good arm, so I don't think throwing out runners is going to be his problem.
No.
I think his problem is blocking and framing. And the thing is, the framing might not matter anymore because of the new rules and the way that they're going to have the challenge system in. It'll still matter to a certain level because you don't want to blow through your challenges in the first inning. But, you know, I wonder, there's going to be some form of we're going to find out how much it actually matters now. And, you know, if he can focus primarily on the blocking, then he probably can improve that. He's an athletic guy and he's only 21 years old, like you mentioned. Yeah. So I definitely think there's a world where he ends up catching.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. So let's transition over to talking about some of the injury stuff that we had. We obviously talked about Zack Wheeler last week, and we talked about how he had the blood clot in his shoulder. Seemed like he was going to be done for the year. Well, he ended up getting diagnosed with thoracic outlet syndrome, TOS for short there. That is one of the worst case scenarios for a guy like Zack Wheeler at the age of 35. He had surgery on it. It's going to take him out for at least 6 to 8 months, but we've seen this derail careers. You know, most famously, Matt Harvey is a guy who dealt with this really bad. Steven Strasburg as well, and it basically derailed both of their careers. Some other guys have, you know, I think DeGrom dealt with it a little bit too at one point, and he's looked fine. You know, he's back to looking like Jacob DeGrom. So I'm not saying it's completely out of the range of outcomes here, but this is a big, big blow, especially something that's going to leak into next season for a guy who we were already talking about was, you know, close to retirement within the next couple of years. It seemed from his own words. So Matt, when you saw the notification that it was thoracic outlet syndrome, what did that do for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we might have discussed it briefly last week, and with the blood clots, and that sounded like a thoracic outlet syndrome type thing. So I kind of had already figured that, but it's not good. I mean, it's really a bad situation. I mean, Zack Wheeler's one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's been very healthy throughout his his Phillies tenure after struggling with health when he was with the Mets. He's, you know, one of those guys. He's a great competitor on the mound. You know, and he's one of the true aces in baseball. I think he's been underappreciated the last few years as to exactly how good he's been. And this is the type of injury, as you mentioned, and I hate saying this because we don't know. Zack Wheeler might come back next year and be just as good as he's ever been. Yeah. And we hope that that's the case. But
wouldn't doubt it either. Like, if
I mean,
it's going to be a guy like him.
It's very possible. But thoracic outlet syndrome is nothing to scoff at. It is definitely a injury that has derailed pitchers' careers more times than not. You know, you think of Matt Harvey, Steven Strasburg. There's been many others that have dealt with it that just never were the same afterwards. It's a very difficult thing to recover from, and it's not something where you just get a surgery necessarily and it's fixed. It's something that takes maintenance, and it obviously he had to get the surgery to get the blood clots fixed. And there is a procedure they can do to try to help it reverse it and fix it. But it's not one of those things. It's a little bit like instead of dealing with a UCL, you're dealing with a shoulder, where there's just all kinds of different things involved. It's a little bit of that kind of scenario where, we'll see. I didn't know a Syndergaard have this too.
I think so. I think that's what I think that's what crushed all of his velocity.
Yeah.
At one point too. So
and I hate to see this, man. And Zack Wheeler's a great pitcher, and it really sucks to see. And hopefully he's going to be the exception and ends up being just as good as ever. But
which is kind of funny that we just mentioned Syndergaard, because I'm just thinking about it. The guys we mentioned, it's Wheeler, DeGrom, Harvey, and Syndergaard.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah. All Mets that had
all the same Mets team.
All the same Mets team, yeah. So at one point. So, anyways, David, what would
this stinks?
Yeah,
I did see that the outlook is one of the, like, we've seen a few pitchers, like we said, that have recovered from thoracic outlet and gone on to pitch pretty well. Like Alex Cobb is one of them.
Yeah.
Like with this level of thoracic outlet, and there's like worse levels. Like Strasburg's was the worst possible, and you can get
Harvey's was too, I think.
And Harvey's was too. So it's like it's good news, but I really, again, it's one of those things where for a guy who had said this is my last contract, I'm not going to play on past that. How much more is he willing to put his body through on this 6 months of rehab? Like, I really think he could get into the offseason this year in the middle of recovery and just kind of be like, you know what? It's not worth it. I don't feel like I'm going to come back at the same level as I was. So that's just it. And I'll have to go out, especially I would say, let's keep an eye on what happens to the Phillies in the postseason here, because they're a team that's going to be geared up for a deep run without Zack Wheeler. That's still a team that's really, really dangerous. Like, they're still going to have 4 elite starting pitchers to go. They've got a good bullpen now. Like, the lineup is incredible. The team could very well win the World Series. And if Zack Wheeler gets a ring, even if he wasn't pitching in the playoffs, like I feel like that might just be enough for him.
Yeah. I want to point out with first off, Jacob deGrom didn't have thoracic outlet syndrome. I was just looking it up. It was a nerve issue that he had. That was the non Tommy John injury. So his was a little bit different. But the thing that I was going to point out was that the Philly, how this affects the Phillies. I think this affects the Phillies in a major way. I think that Zack Wheeler is the type of guy, a little bit how Steven Strasburg, Max Scherzer was with the Nationals. He's kind of sets the tone for them, and you kind of look around at their rotation and it's good, but listen, Christopher Sanchez is really good.
He's elite.
He's had a great year. But who would you rather have pitching in the playoff game 1? Zack Wheeler or Christopher Sanchez?
This season it was.
Christopher Sanchez. Hey, don't listen.
I'm not going to discount
Christopher Sanchez. Has been great. He's been great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to discount him. I'm just saying, like,
top 5 in Cy Young this year.
He is.
I don't think that's the great thing. I think you could say, like, do you want to have Ranger Suarez or Aaron Nola or Zack Wheeler? And it's I understand that.
Well, and what I'm saying is, like, Zack Wheeler sets that tone. He has that playoff experience. He's pitched in those big games. It's a little different.
Mentioned it. We've said, even last week when we were talking about this deal, we said how big of an injury it was.
Yeah.
We knew he was going to be out for the year at that point. Like, we've talked about that part about it. Now we're focusing on his career path, and like, he's going to end the career, not just this season. Right. Like, there's the thing that he could be healthy for the start of next season. Like, with this timeline, it gives him the opportunity, into March, April, somewhere right around there. He could be ready. You just don't know, because the stuff drops off significantly from that point. It's very, very hard to come back and be the same level of guy from this. So we hope Wheeler does, but
absolutely.
It's going to be very hard to. A couple other injuries that we should talk about real quick, so we can get moving on. Marcus Semien, he basically broke his foot. He has a Liz Frank sprain and a fractured third metatarsal in his foot. Sounds like it's a 4 to 6 week lead time there, so most likely going to end his season too, with the Rangers basically out of it at this point. And then real quick as well, we didn't put it on our thing, but David reminded me to put it on here too, is the Kyle Tucker injury that we kind of knew, and it's been happening since June. People were like, why is he hitting 128 since June 2nd or whatever? And then like 2 months later, it's like, oh, hey, guess what? He has a fractured finger that he's been playing through. And it's like, well, of course he has no power. Of course he hasn't hit a home run in basically 2 months. Anyways, so David, I know Kyle Tucker directly affects you, but we've seen him get back onto the field recently after a couple days benching. And, it's probably because I benched him in fantasy after that point, after he sat, and I was like, well, he's been bad. I'm just going to bench him. And then he hits like 3 homers this weekend against the Angels. So is Kyle Tucker back now?
I think he's back. I think the injury's healed. It is the thing, right? They decided to play through it. I ultimately don't know that I have a problem with a guy playing through an injury, and his June was pretty good. Like, he didn't immediately see negative effects from the injury. It was, why was he playing in the All-Star game with a broken hand, right?
Yeah.
You just, the easiest choice in the world to just say, hey, don't go to that, heal, rest your hand. And then right after the All-Star game is when the issue started to seem to crop up, where he just fell off a cliff. And at that point, right, he's healed, but his mechanics were slightly adjusted from working through the pain of a broken hand, right? He's got to spend some time to get that back, right? And with a 10-day IL potentially, and you've got Owen Casey sitting there on the bench, like, call up Owen Casey, put Tucker on the 10-day IL, make it a minimum stay, just let him get right. That never being a choice, and them suffering through effectively a month of very poor performance for a guy in a contract year, like, this hurts Kyle Tucker a lot more than a minimum length stay would have. Like, I do not like that. And now his whole entire season looks worse. It's the Cubs have effectively fallen, they're probably barely in the race for the division at this point. It's very disappointing in how this was handled, but it's okay. It's good. I think he's back. I think he's going to be just as dangerous as he was. I don't think there's any long-term effects for this injury. It's just a disappointingly handled injury, and it's typical for the Cubs. They do this once every couple of years where a guy is like obviously hurt and they just will not put him on the IL for 10 days. It's 10 days. It's maybe 8 to 10 games.
Yeah.
Like, very little portion of your season. And I know it's Kyle Tucker. He's your best player, but like, that's why you have the prospects. That's why you don't trade an Owen Casey for, Adrian Hauser or whatever would have been the other option there. Like, that's exactly it. So that's frustrating. And
it didn't even have to be an Owen Casey thing. Like, they could have just put Seiya out there for 10 days.
Yeah.
Like, and then just had someone else play. Like, you had already had Ballesteros up and down. You could just had him DH or whatever either. As far as the season, I mean, still Kyle Tucker's still 16th in all of baseball in WRC plus. Like, this is not even a wasted season for how bad he was for a month and a half. Yeah. Like, I don't even think this affects his free agency at all. Like, it is very, very clear that, hey, it's like, hey, you played through a broken finger. Like, okay, we still understand that you have like an 840 or 860 OPS, whatever it is at this point. I know it was up there at one point.
Yeah, it was higher.
But he's still like 16th in all of baseball in WRC plus this year. Like, even playing through that, like, he would easily be close to the top 10 had it not been that point. So, good.
I was just going to throw out there, first off, do we really want Seiya Suzuki playing outfield in a division race?
I mean, for 10 days.
We saw what happened last time. So, sorry, David. But the other thing, too, is Kyle Tucker. I mean, the injury probably was affecting him, but it also, I mean, it was just a month or so, month and a half. It could have just been a cold spell, too, at the same time that the injury was affecting him. I mean, it's not necessarily the fact that there's no way possible he should have been playing at all. Like, he might have had a cold streak in there. The injury was affecting him a little bit. He got his mechanics out of whack, and then he figured it out when he took a couple days off. I mean, who knows? But
the consternation is going to come from, he was bad for several weeks and they didn't give him the days off.
Oh yeah, they should have given him a day or two off 3 weeks earlier.
Right. That's the big issue. I do want to toss in some Marcus Semien talk. This will be the first season in since 2017 that Marcus Semien has missed more than 7 games in the full season.
It's crazy.
That guy is an absolute Iron Man. Yep. The fact that he's missing time is terrible. Yeah. He hasn't been as good. He's getting older. He's getting older, but I love a workhorse like a Marcus Semien, man. He's like the Rangers captain for that World Series run, and since then he's been the Rangers captain since signing with them, and that's just kind of an inspirational guy. I really like Marcus Semien. He has not been good for me in fantasy baseball recently just because of this. He's getting older, man. It's tough. It stinks, but I'll tell you, I love a guy that'll go out there every single day. Injuries doesn't really seem to bother him. Obviously the broken foot bothers him, and I hope he gets out there again. And maybe the Rangers, they're not too far out of the playoffs. They're 4 games out.
Yeah, they could get hot.
They need to get some run. Do it for Marcus. Get him back in there in the playoffs. He's the kind of guy that could go absolutely nuclear over a short series. He'll be back in time for the playoffs, I think, but they may not be there is the issue.
Yeah. The craziest thing about his streak of playing every day is that he's a middle infielder. I mean, that's so difficult. It's so unusual. You see first basemen do that occasionally. Freddie Freeman had several years in a row. He played every game. Matt Olson's played every game the last 3 or 4 years. You see that occasionally from like first baseman, but not from a shortstop or second baseman. So good for him. I hate it for the Rangers.
Defender.
They do still have a
great defender.
Oh, he's still an elite defender and base runner too. It's just at the plate, the power hasn't been there, and the Rangers do still have 11% playoff odds. They're not totally out of it. They don't have a great chance, but they're they could get hot.
They have decent pitching to make it work too.
They do.
Jacob deGrom helps.
Yes, he does.
So does Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter's really good.
And then the super underrated Nathan Eovaldi that no one's talking about.
Yeah, no, Nathan Eovaldi's insane.
I love me some Nathan Eovaldi.
1.73 ERA this year.
Yeah, and you don't even hear about it.
Yep.
Let's talk about the Dodgers-Padres series because we.
Do you want to, Damian?
No.
Hey, listen. I'll take it on the chin because I talked about it last week when when they swept them. You gotta own up to it, right? I also told, I think I said it on the pod. If not, I think it's in our chat where I said there's a high percentage chance that the Dodgers sweep the Padres in LA and then turns around the Padres sweep the Dodgers in San Diego. And then we're right here in this predicament anyways. It ended up not being that way. The Dodgers, they lost 2 out of the 3 there. So the Padres took back the division lead, and then the Dodgers won on Sunday to tie it up again. And they have the tiebreaker. I think the Padres had won 4 of the games in the season series, so the Dodgers have the tiebreaker there. But Friday nights was a 2-1 game. Outstanding pitching by both Blake Snell and Yu Darvish, who looked like vintage Yu Darvish again. Saturday was another one with Nestor Cortez looked amazing. He had 5 2/3 perfect innings there, gave up a hit in the 6th. I think he ended up giving up the 1 run as well. And then yesterday, Nick Pivetta had a great game as well going. And he was struggled really in the first inning, and Ramon Laureano robbed a grand slam from Teoscar Hernandez, really kind of settled everything down. Pivetta only ended up giving 1 run there, another run later, but the Dodgers broke it open in the 7th inning with a Dalton Rushing 3-run homer, and then Freddie hit 2 homers. Shohei hit a homer to kind of cap it off there to take the 8-2 victory. But this is what you expect from a series in San Diego, right? It was a rowdy crowd. They gave Raleigh towels away for one of them, like it was a postseason game. It was a fun environment, but it came down to, really the Padres' Achilles heel has been their pitching. And Yu Darvish and Nestor Cortez went out there and both basically dominated this lineup, who they'd been kind of struggling here or there, but Mookie had kind of found it. Shohei had been pretty decent recently. Freddie's been typical Freddie recently. And they kind of shut it down. Friday and Saturday, the Dodgers scored 1 run each, and both of those were Alex Freeland homers. His first 2 homers of his career. Those were the only runs they scored, those 2 games.
Sure.
And then they broke out for 8 yesterday out of nowhere against Nick Pivetta, who's been one of the best pitchers in baseball recently. But, yeah, it was a fun series. I don't know if you guys caught any of it. If not, I basically went over it. But I think the biggest part of it now is it's a tied division race, right? Is evened up here. The Dodgers basically have a half game lead because they do have the season series advantage, but we're a month stretch here and we're basically even.
Yeah. It could go either way, honestly. I think a lot of it depends on the Dodgers' health, how things go here, but the Padres do have a slightly easier schedule the rest of the season. They have an opponent strength of schedule of a 474 winning percentage remaining, whereas the Dodgers is a 491 remaining winning percentage. So of course that could also mean like one series against the Rockies extra or something, but that's something to kind of keep an eye on. And yeah, I mean both these teams are really good, and we saw it last week when the Dodgers swept them. Two of those games were like one-run games, and they were really close.
Yeah.
And then this series, the Padres were able to win them. So definitely a competitive season series here. It's been a good rivalry over the last few years, and it's a lot of fun to watch when these two teams play.
I've done it before, but one of my things is when I'm wrong on something, like I want to take accountability. All right. I want to go back and note that I was incorrect. Nick Pivetta has been absolutely excellent.
Yeah.
One of the two best starting pitching signings from free agency last year. We maligned him for not taking the qualifying offer. I think ultimately he got less money as a result of that, because if he was playing this year on the qualifying offer, it would have been pretty good. But he has really transformed with this Dodgers group. I know I was talking to my work friend who's a Padres fan, and he was kind of like, dude, I like Pivetta. Like, I think he's going to be really good. And I was like, I don't think so, man. And Pivetta has just absolutely been amazing. So like I have to note on that, but I'll tell you, this Padres team is really, really dangerous. I genuinely don't know if they're going to be able to stay in front of the Dodgers, right? It seems like this is more of a hot streak combined with the Dodgers cold streak, where they haven't even been able to get a hold of the division lead for more than a game or two. So, I think that ultimately the Dodgers will prevail in this, but I don't want to run into the Padres in the playoffs. I don't. This team is very nasty, and they have a bunch of good leaders who've been there before. The pitching could just go off like it has this week.
Well,
those guys all have so much experience.
I was going to bring up with the pitching too. Nick Pivetta, you mentioned Dylan Cease has great peripherals, even though as his ERA hasn't been very good. But Yu Darvish is starting to find form, as you mentioned. He has only made 9 starts this year. He missed a lot of the season, so he's starting to find form. And then Michael King should be back pretty soon. It sounds like he's pitching simulated games, and we saw what he did in the playoffs last year. He was really good, and he had a 2.81 ERA before going down. So they're really looking like they might get healthy on the pitching front this pretty soon, where they might have 4 like really solid starters to go with an elite bullpen, and then a really good lineup. So this team, I think if you took the starting lineups, top bullpen arms, and pitchers on the Padres current team, and then the Dodgers current not super healthy team, then I think the Padres are every bit as good as they are now. The Dodgers have all this depth and if they get some guys back from injury and then they're going to be better. But that's kind of where we're at right now. These teams are pretty even.
I would say the only one they're really, really missing at this point is Max Muncy. Basically, everyone's back. I mean, Roki, but he's not that big of a piece this year.
Yeah.
It's meant to be the others. I mean, they got all their pitchers back.
Yeah.
All the bullpen guys came back. Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates came back this weekend. Kike came back today. Like it's really just Muncy at this point. But I mean, the Padres are really good too. Like, I'm not going to discount them. I think the elite bullpen, they got the perfect complementary pieces in Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn. It fit exactly what that team needed to do.
What a trade that was.
If it absolutely perfect for what they needed there. So I think that all of their holes are basically filled outside of the starting pitching. And it, like you mentioned, if Darvish can be Darvish, right? He's 39 years old, 40 years old. You aren't sure. He's had these up and down little things. Pivetta, like he looks good. He runs into some of these bad games every once in a while, especially against a team like LA. I think his 2 worst starts have come against LA so far. You never know what you're going to get with Nestor either. The starting rotation is their only kind of real weakness, and if those guys get hot, they're going to be a menace in the playoffs. So, and even going into this division race. But let's talk about Cal Raleigh now, because we haven't talked about him enough on this show. But Cal Raleigh this weekend on Sunday hit 2 homers to pass Salvador Perez's 2021 home run record as a catcher. So Cal now has 49 home runs. It is August 24th on the day he did that. He is very well on pace to hit mid-50s, if not into the 60s as a catcher. He has 7.3 WAR, which I think right now is F4. I think it's tied with Judge, if I'm not mistaken.
It's tied with Judge.
Yeah, it's tied with Aaron Judge now. People are going to look, hey, he has a 247 batting average. It's like, well, yeah, but he is doing everything he needs to do as well. So, it's insane that we're at this point. We're not even to September and the catcher home run record is broken, and he has the chance to potentially, with an insane month, hit 60. Like, it'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's not that insane of a month. Hitting. I mean, I would assume he gets maybe 2 more before the end of August. I mean, it's August 25th right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it would be 9 home runs in a month. I mean, that's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it's not like that's not doable. So very possible he gets to 60. I definitely think right now, if the season ended today, Cal Raleigh would be the MVP. Mainly just because, Aaron Judge has been as good, as valuable as Cal Raleigh this year, maybe more so, especially since he just missed a few games. But I mean, fact of the matter is that, the voters are always going to go for the guy. If it's even, they're going to go for the guy who's doing something historic for one thing, and Raleigh, who's broken records already. And also for the guy that hasn't won it before. I mean, Judge has won it 3 times now. So, obviously Judge could win his 4th. He's deserving of it, but Cal Raleigh, I think right now, is the leader in the clubhouse.
He's doing some amazing stuff, but I have to give the nod to Raleigh, even if Judge were ahead slightly, because doing that while playing elite defense at catcher, which is that's closing the gap on the offense, is the elite defense at catcher from Cal Raleigh.
Oh yeah, that's what I was to say.
That's like Cal Raleigh as a bat has not been as valuable as Aaron Judge, but the fact that he's doing it as a catcher, where these days catchers are kind of understood to be they wear down, they don't play every game, they're not going to hit as good because they need to catch, a lot of wear on the body. Cal Raleigh has been able to not only perform at the same level as the best hitters in the game, he's been the best hitter at his position of all time, and he has managed to match Aaron Judge with overall value. To me, it's Cal Raleigh based on that. Like, even if Judge has a decent month and pulls away in WAR by half a win, I think Cal Raleigh covers that just because of the positional change. Like catcher, we are not seeing catchers do this, right? We talked about Adley Rutschman earlier in the episode. We are not seeing elite catchers. We thought Adley would be elite. His first 2 seasons were really good. He was never this good, and he was never in the conversation for MVP like Cal Raleigh is right now.
Yeah, I will say with the Judge versus Raleigh on the offensive side, Aaron Judge's WRC plus is 195, and Cal Raleigh's is 160. That's the same difference as Bryce Harper to Xavier Edwards. Yeah. I mean, that's how big of a difference that Judge has been. I mean, like I said, I think Kyle Raleigh's the leader right now. His defense at catcher is amazing. He's hit 49 home runs. He's definitely deserving right now. But just to point out exactly how good Aaron Judge is, that's the difference between him and second place is the same difference between Bryce Harper and Xavier Edwards, who has 2 home runs this year on the season.
Yeah, I mean, Cal's going to catch 120 games at least. Yep. So, like we said, that's still an insane.
Oh yeah,
so valuable. So valuable.
So let's talk about the TV deals now, because this is the big thing that we've kind of really been waiting on ever since we got the news that ESPN and MLB were kind of heading for that major split, from Sunday Night Baseball and the Wild Card Series and the Home Run Derby. The whole basic
structure.
There you go. The whole basic structure of MLB's TV contracts has been up in the air for a couple years. I mean, even teams haven't been able to get RSN deals. They've had MLB producing their games, right? So we weren't really sure what was all going to happen. If you guys don't know who Andrew Marchand is, you should figure out and find Andrew Marchand, because he is one of the best guys for information on anything TV related. He is on top of everything. And when he says it, it's basically the jet passing of notifications, basically, if it comes to that in his field. So he dropped a bombshell on us the other day, an article talking about how MLB is close to finalizing deals, hopefully sign them in September to basically reorganize all of their TV contracts, right? So the basic thing of it, I'll break it down. Let's just go each company basically, and we'll get through it all at one point. So ESPN is now staying with Major League Baseball, but they are not staying with Sunday Night Baseball. They have bought the rights to MLB TV for their direct-to-consumer platform. If you don't know that, ESPN just launched a new platform. It's basically on their ESPN app anyways. It's $30 a month. They're going to pair with Fox here in, I think, October, make it $40. You can get a bunch of Fox stuff as well. If you have cable, you can sign into it and get all of that content basically for free right in there. It's going to be a direct-to-consumer site. You're going to see a bunch of college football games are going to be on there. Now MLB games are on there. WWE is going to be on there. They're making it basically a one-stop shop for that. They are now going to have the rights to sell all out-of-market packages like MLB TV does at this point, in-market deals, and produce in-market deals for 5 teams, which is the Guardians, the Padres, the Twins, the Diamondbacks, and the Rockies. So those teams will now have an ESPN-produced game every night of the week, basically, rather than MLB was doing it this year. They also will still get an exclusive night game, but it's going to be a weekday game. I'm not sure which day of the week. We assume it's probably like a Wednesday night baseball or something, Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere right around there, because they're not going to conflict with their Monday Night Football or anything like that. So they want to do a different day. So let's just stick with ESPN here because I think this is the biggest portion of it, right? Them acquiring MLB TV. What's that going to look like? Because I think if you ask any of us right now, MLB TV is the best price-wise for any sporting, company to go to get their stuff. They have the best platform. It's the most user-friendly, everything about it. So I hope they really keep that. But seeing ESPN get the direct-to-consumer stuff, MLB TV, and the in-market deals, David, what does that kind of signal for you? Like, do you think it's going to matter all of that much at the end of the day?
I hope not. I really hope not. I hate ESPN though, so like, I hope that nothing changes. Right, that would be the best thing. Right, they're acquiring MLB TV. I do hope they're just keeping most of the structure, most of the platform, trying to changing the branding, and then that's kind of it. Right. We're gonna have to see because ESPN getting control of 5 teams, an additional weeknight game, and that makes me nervous, man, because they've just been so brutally bad in the production category for a long time on Sunday Night Baseball, and it was kind of refreshing when we were like, yes, they're gone. Like, I think the rest of this is kind of nice. What you're about to tell us for the rest of these things, this is maybe the one that actually have some pause. Where I'm like, we'll see. I hope it's good, but who knows?
Yeah, I'll say that with the ESPN getting MLB TV thing, I'm on board with this, honestly, with the direct consumer kind of a one-stop shop for all the sports content. I mean, for a long time, all the TV I watch is sports. I would not have any YouTube TV, cable, nothing if it wasn't for sports. I don't watch any other channels. So, I mean, if this ends up being something where ESPN gets with Fox and gets with a couple like Turner Sports, a couple others, and are really able to make this a comprehensive thing, including MLB TV, they've already got NHL. I forget the name of NHL's thing.
Power Play, I think.
Power Play, yeah. They've got. I think they're going to get Sunday Ticket this year.
Not this year.
Or next year. Yeah, they're getting Sunday Ticket. So there's your big 3. NBA. I think they've already got the NBA, right?
They have the parts to the NBA one. NBC has a lot of the majority of that too. I don't think full NBA like NBA TV or anything is going to be on there.
Okay. I mean, it might in the future. I mean, maybe. That's the thing that ESPN might be going after that soon. But
they might work out a deal. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's a good thing. I mean, you're getting 3 of the 4 big 4 sports in the U.S. on your network. It's somewhere you can probably go to, pay. If it's $30 a month for all this, then that's like stealing money. I'm sure Sunday Ticket will make it more next year, but we'll see. Cool. But I mean, I don't mind it. And then for the production for those 5 teams, those are the 5 teams who Diamond Sports Group, the media group that bought Fox Sports Network and or the local Fox Sports channels, and then it was Bally and then FanDuel that filed bankruptcy. That's those 5 that lost their TV production through the bankruptcy filings, and I think they just kind of kept the same people on board And I think that's probably what ESPN's going to do too.
Yeah.
They're just going to kind of keep the same people on board. I don't think it's going to change their production a ton. They might put different graphics on there or something, but
Yeah, that's mainly my thought.
yeah.
The broadcast really didn't change. It was just graphically wise, it was a little
Yeah.
different, and I think that's basically what it's going to
Yeah,
be.
and I'll say that I don't think that the graphics for ESPN are really the problem. I think it's the announcers that they have, the in-game interviews being half the broadcast, the fact that they're
That's
trying to
producing, though. That's
produce.
productions.
It is, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to do that for like local broadcasts. I think it's
No,
the
I'm
issue
not.
is trying to have a game for a national audience that not everyone cares about, and they don't handle it right.
Yeah.
So for these local broadcasts, I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't think so either. And if you're giving me, the plan is, I guess, 30 like weekday games for ESPN, whatever. Go do whatever you want on there. Just leave, like most midweek games, anyways. They're not blacked out. It's like, hey, you can either watch on ESPN or you could just go watch on your local game. Yeah. Most people just go watch on their local channel, anyways. The one thing that I will be interested to see is this is saying the direct-to-consumer stuff right now, right? But are they going to keep that next year? Once they have all of the rights, are they going to then charge a different thing for MLB TV? Are they then going to, a single fee? Are they then going to charge a different fee for Red Zone? Because those are cash cows, right? MLB TV is the most inexpensive one. It's $150 the whole year. You can get every team's games, basically. We're like, Red Zone is like $500 something this year. Like, are they going to
Sunday ticket is
for Sunday ticket? Yeah, for Sunday ticket. Sorry. Are they going to put that? Which they got the rights to Sunday ticket too, I believe.
Yeah,
I want to say that was part of it. NFL Network, Red Zone, Sunday ticket.
I think
maybe.
So.
So as long as they keep it on the direct-to-consumer platform, I think that's fine. But once they have everything signed, then what do they do from there, right? Because they're not technically having to do it. So
my assumption is, and this is just speculation, but my assumption is that Sunday ticket will be like a premium extra subscription, like a higher level subscription, but that like ESP, like MLB TV, NHL Power Play, Red Zone, all kind of goes on the same one. If I had to guess, I'm not sure about that, but if I had to guess, that's probably how they would do it.
Did they get Sunday ticket?
I believe they did get Sunday ticket.
No, they don't.
Or they were rumored to be getting it.
I don't think so. I'm not seeing anything with it.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know there was a difference between Sunday ticket and Red Zone. I thought it was the same thing.
Yeah.
No, there's. I think it might be just Red Zone and NFL Network, NFL properties. I think YouTube and Google that has the Sunday ticket stuff at this point. Anyways, let's move forward because there is still more to do within the TV contract side. Yep. So now that ESPN is out, what does that mean for Sunday Night Baseball, right? Well, NBC is picking up Sunday Night Baseball, and NBC is also potentially picking up Friday Night Baseball from Apple and doing that exclusively on Peacock. So it's going from Apple TV, which would be on to Peacock exclusive games, which more people have Peacock than they do Apple TV at the end of the day, anyways. And it sounds like NBC is going to pick up the wild card series that ESPN is dropping from that. And they might even get a different night game as well. Seems like they're really going all out here, NBC. And if you're ever looking for sports on a Sunday night, just look on NBC because they are going to have football, baseball, and basketball. They're going to have all of them, basically. So NBC picking up Sunday Night Baseball, I think that's going to be, as long as they don't do anything remotely close to ESPN's doing, I think it's going to be looked at as a very, really good thing because ESPN has been horrendous at Sunday Night Baseball for years. The Friday night Peacock games, I feel like that's a whatever. The wild card series, I think that's a massive deal because that's going to be NBC, it's going to be Peacock, it's going to kind of be all around. Yeah. But those are high level games that people are going to want to tune in and watch for. So that's a very, very big thing.
Yeah, and I'll say two comments on NBC. First off, in September, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle both Sunday Night Baseball and Sunday Night Football. Yeah. I don't know how they'll handle that. And the other thing with the NBC, NBC has had the best production quality for their sports. Yeah. I mean, I think they're obviously the best for the NFL. I think they're pretty easily the best for the NFL at least. And I think that they've typically been really good with NASCAR, which is their other big thing that they've had over the past few years. Their golf coverage is the best.
The Olympics.
The
It's
Olympics
great.
coverage is usually really, really
Yeah.
good, even though that's only once every few years.
Yeah, but still.
They're getting the
it's really
NBA
good.
next year, so that's going to be interesting to see them kind of pull all this in at the same time. But I definitely think that NBC getting Sunday Night Baseball could be very good for the product, and hopefully we get to see some. Hopefully, getting to see the allure of Sunday Night Baseball make a little bit of a comeback, because recently it's been just kind of dreading having a Sunday Night Baseball game.
Yeah,
I'm going to be interested to see how NBC does. You said baseball and football. I'm interested to see football and basketball, because those are on at the exact time as each other.
They'll use TNT or what's the other NBC one? TBS, USA. They'll use
USA's the other, and TNT's
Turner. Yeah, so they'll use
USA.
Yeah, they'll use USA for basketball probably, but I mean that's still a big deal, because USA is a kind of their effective second sports channel at this point, right? So I'm excited for NBC. Think that's a great new voice in the clubhouse, effectively, to try and revolutionize stuff. I mean, them making the recurrence back to NASCAR really, I think, kicked the ball forward on improving productions back to what it was. They got really stagnant in the mid 2010s and kind of carried into the early 2020s. So NBC, I think when Dale Jr. got back as the broadcaster, that really started to fire things back in the right direction. I feel like they do a good job of listening to the fans and trying to cater to what they want and not what the executive overlords think the fan wants, which is never, the right thing. Right. So you got to get your X million people that are going to watch the game to tune into the game. Right. Then you try and pull in the casual people who've just flipped onto the channel, right? Like, you have to make sure all your people are still going. And that's something that NASCAR's been terrible at. Like the NFL, like they've actually done a pretty good job of not worrying about what those people do. They just keep their people coming back, right? The NFL gives you all these windows to watch, and red zone and all these things where you can tune in and watch however you want to. And baseball's long been this, we're going to try and cater to casual fans and talk to the players in the game and stuff. Like, not just get away from that. Give us a good baseball broadcast. And I think it's possible. I hope NBC can do it.
Yeah, and NBC's also done great with the Saturday night college slate as well. Like, that's also been another good thing too. But so looking forward to other little pieces here is that Netflix is going to get the rights to the Home Run Derby, which is going to be very interesting. As a standalone thing, they're not obviously going to get anything to do with like the All-Star game or anything like that. I will be interested to see if ESPN or them, who gets the draft, because I could see maybe Netflix wanting to do that a part of All-Star weekend. I know ESPN has some of the rights right now. Obviously, MLB TV still does. Would assume it's probably ESPN on the direct-to-consumer platform, but I could see Netflix maybe wanting to get something there. They get the Home Run Derby as like a standalone MLB event. We also got a thing today. They're going to stream the World Baseball Classic exclusively in Japan when that's moving forward. So maybe that's a future looking forward of them getting something here as well. Basically, in the end, what this also means is, seems like at the moment, Apple TV is out of baseball. They are still in negotiations with MLB, maybe on something else, maybe on a different night game, maybe Wednesday games. YouTube was doing those like Wednesday or Thursday day games too. Maybe Apple does something with that. Who knows? But they're, as of right now, the current iteration is they're out, but maybe they get something else here later on down the road with it. But they are they got F1 coverage and they got MLS coverage. They're putting out a decent bit of money right now with those.
I'll say Apple's broadcasts weren't necessarily that bad.
No,
they were inconsistent because
really
they always had different announcers, but I thought they did a pretty good job. It's just a matter of, and I think David's probably on board with this. That's why he was thinking, having 6 different streaming services for the same sport is ridiculous. I mean, they need to just go with one and stick with it.
I will say, most people gave Apple slack because it was behind the paywall. Their broadcasts were actually genuinely really
they were great.
Like, the picture quality was great. The audios were great. Like, they tried to do the whole thing with like bringing in one home announcer from each side of the game and like let them kind of do it, which always made a weird combination from the booth. Yeah. But everything else about those broadcasts were legitimately really good. People just hated it because it was behind a paywall, which I understand that part. but the broadcast itself was
Yeah. And
if Apple TV broadcasts were a Sunday Night Baseball broadcast, I think people would be incredibly happy with it.
I think that's the perfect point, right? I thought the broadcasts themselves were fine, but I hate it. I never wanted to go out and try and find it. So
wow. The throwback.
So yeah, I don't have a problem with Apple as a whole, but the accessibility was the issue, right? And it's the same as any other, streaming platform, right? Netflix and stuff like the quality needs to be improved if you're going to put it back behind a paywall. And I would even consider, right, try to maybe make that like part of a free trial, or the kind of you use that to get people onto your platform, right? If you have to download Apple TV in order the platform, and then you could watch a baseball game once a week as part of just having that, well, maybe you'd be more inclined to buy Apple TV, right? And watch the other things that they have on that platform. So that's the kind of thing that I don't like having to, like you said, right, having so many streaming platforms for watching baseball games seems a little ridiculous and redundant, but but at this point, this is just the world we live in.
It is. That's why I think the direct consumer thing like ESPN and Fox is doing makes it a little bit, I think we're starting to get around to the thing where the pendulum always swings, right?
Yep.
I think it's starting to swing back to the more of like, not cable perspective, but like we need to kind of come together and do this a little bit, because we saw a lot of people like stop everything.
Yeah,
right.
I'll tell you, if ESPN is actually able to go through with this and get everything sports wise on their platform, that's going to end cable, because I don't know anybody that has cable at this point other than old people that that doesn't use it just for sports only.
I'll tell you what, if ESPN gets this and gets the Fox deal working in October, and they don't have their stuff figured out with Fox on YouTube TV right now, because that just happened right before the show. Like YouTube TV and Fox are in a disagreement right before the biggest college football weekend with like 3 big games on that platform. They're going to lose a lot of people.
Absolutely,
YouTube TV will. But anyways, there will be more to talk about once we get official words and figuring everything out. But this was kind of the real big bombshell that kind of dropped in general. It gave us a lot of nuggets to kind of dig our teeth into and start to piece things together as we look forward to the offseason, because this is something really big that we're really kind of needing to figure out here pretty soon. But before we wrap it up, let's jump to Player of the Week.
Yes, Player of the Week, August 18th. We had a little bit of a tie between Bryce Harper and I'll have to find the other one. But the vote gave us Bryce Harper on the tiebreaker, so I didn't put up a second poll. So it's between Bryce Harper and Jerks and Profar. So we'll go with Bryce Harper for that day. Joe Adell won August 19th with a two home run day. Sandy Alcantara got his first Player of the Day vote on August 20th. Tyler Soderstrom won August 21st with a 4-hit day. That is his 4th Player of the Day win. That's pretty cool for the A's first baseman. Shane Bieber won his first August 22nd. Kyle Tucker gets his 2nd Player of the Day on August 23rd. And then yesterday's will be Cal Raleigh for hitting the 2 home runs to set the record for catchers on August 24th. So Player of the Week consideration is amongst those guys. Matt, who you got?
I think I'm going to go with a guy who I don't think has won one yet. That would be Cal Raleigh. I don't think he did win May 26th to June 1st. I think I'm going to go with Cal Raleigh, because when you set that kind of a record that's, only been standing for a couple of years, but that's a record that is, something that's pretty prestigious, I feel like. I mean, it was a big deal when Salvador Perez broke it a couple years ago. I'm definitely on board with Cal Raleigh winning the Player of the Week here.
You concurring, Damian?
I'm not, actually.
Who you got?
I am going with Shane Bieber, because
fair enough.
I am so happy to see Shane Bieber back. I totally forgot that he was starting on Friday. And then I told myself, like, I was so busy doing all that other stuff for the fantasy draft. And I was like, I told myself Saturday, hey, I'm going to look at how Shane Bieber's start went. Totally forgot about it. Came to yesterday and I was like, how did Shane Bieber's start go? Forgot about it all day. Then I looked like Sunday night. I was like, all right, I need to finally sit down. Shane Bieber, how did it start going? I looked it up and I was like, wait, what? He had like 6 innings, 9 strikeouts. I
9
was like, all right.
strikeouts.
And I immediately threw the game on and just like went back to watch Friday night's game. I forgot how much I like watching Shane Bieber pitch.
Mhm.
He is so good, and I'm so excited that he's back. So just for that, because his long road back there and getting traded and everything, I love Shane Bieber. So I'm picking Shane Bieber.
I love Shane Bieber too. Give me Cal Raleigh for player of the week. Setting the record is too important, and I think Shane Bieber will be winning more of them in his next couple of starts. We tend to vote these same starters a lot, but especially if they have really good starts like that. And Shane Bieber is going to be pitching some really important games down the stretch for the Toronto Blue Jays. So I think there will be more opportunities for him, but the catcher home run record only gets set once a year. And this week it was Cal Raleigh for me.
I completely forgot that Shane Bieber was a Toronto Blue Jay.
Yeah.
I completely forgot. I was sitting here thinking, man, I wonder what the Guardians are going to do. And
Got traded.
Yep,
He's a Blue Jay.
I entirely just blanked
Yep.
on that. So
Yeah.
good for him. And that is important.
Mhm.
Anyways, that will wrap up this episode of the Batfoot podcast. Next week is Labor Day. I'm not exactly sure what we got going on, if we're going to have one on Monday, if we have something pre-recorded. Just stay tuned to the channel, like and subscribe here, and we will try and get something out for Monday. If not, we will make sure to let you guys know either on our Twitter or on the YouTube post page that we won't have anything out at that point. So thank you guys for watching this one. Again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we will catch you guys back on the next one.